Ashton Kutcher is somebody that I think needs to be investigated. Today, we're going to be doing a deep dive on Ashton Kutcher, things that maybe you don't know, some conspiracy theories about his involvement with certain celebrity deaths like Britney Murphy, like his connection to horrible people like P. Diddy and Danny Masterson, and maybe potentially allegedly the Church of Scientology. We're just going to dive in, okay? So, controversies around Ashton Kutcher really started happening in 2024 when Diddy was arrested. This was when people started to look back and be like, damn, I didn't know Ashton Kutcher and Diddy were such good friends. But the truth is, they were. And honestly, this made me do an entire deep dive into Ashton Kutcher's past. And there is a lot of shit. Like, he has been weird since the beginning. So we're just gonna go back in time and chronologically talk about some of the craziest conspiracy theories and secrets and just dark things surrounding Ashton Kutcher. So we're gonna start with That 70s Show because That 70s Show ran from 1998 to 2006, and it is where Ashton Kutcher began his journey into fame. However, if you look back on this period of time, there was a lot of dark shit going on the set of That 70s Show. From people making jokes about a 14-year-old Mila Kunis to Scientologists flooding the set of the show, there has been a lot of weird stuff that Ashton has been involved with. So Mila Kunis was only 14 years old when she started working on That 70s Show, and her character was dating Ashton Kutcher's character, which Ashton was around 19, 20 at the time. Ashton and Mila didn't start dating in real life until way later, so this was never really something I thought that much about. When you look back at how they talked about a 14-year-old Mila Kunis, it paints a very disturbing picture, to say the least.
In a job, and I didn't
Working
know.
with me?
Yeah, and she was as hot as she was. You know, come on, this one.
14.
14, she was even hotter. But I'm not allowed to say that.
She was 14 when we started the show. I was like 19, right?
Right.
And they're like, okay, you guys are going to be making out in this scene. And I'm like thinking like, wait, this is like slightly illegal,
That's
right?
probably your first kiss ever,
It
right?
was my first kiss. What if someone bet you made with Danny about our first kiss?
No, it wasn't the first kiss. It was
go
like a
ahead,
second or
ask.
third kiss.
It was the first. It was like the first week.
No, it was not the first week.
Whatever. Let me tell you what happened.
No, let me tell you
no,
what happened.
no. Okay, so I've never kissed a guy. So I was so. I mean, you know, Ash was attractive, and I was a 14-year-old little girl, and I was extremely scared for my life.
Sure.
And he was very nice about it. He was like, "Oh, don't worry." So I was like, "Okay." Then Danny goes and goes, "Dude, I'll give you $10 if you French kiss her." What would you stick your tongue in my mouth or some?
What? No.
For $10.
You're making it sound like it was like really. Okay, Dan, we had a little side bet going. Like,
Which was?
It wasn't very
as to whether or not, you're kissing on the show or boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
You would use tongue, right, Rosie? I mean, you would. I mean,
From That 70s Show, and you're watching In the Crease TV.
Hi, I'm Ashton Kutcher, and I'm from That 70s Show TV, That 70s Show too.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm doing this is not because I think In the Crease is good, but because Jock told me Mila would sit on my lap if I did. It feels good.
Obviously very disturbing to look back on. Something that I want to talk about in regards to Ashton Kutcher is, of course, his relationship with Danny Masterson. So Danny Masterson was accused and convicted of R-wording two women in 2003. He was first publicly accused in 2017 and then later arrested in 2020. His first trial happened in 2022, but it resulted in a mistrial because the jury just couldn't decide whether or not he was guilty. But in April of 2023, his second trial took place, and on May 31st, 2023, Danny Masterson was found guilty and sentenced to 30 years in prison. And this trial, I said P. Diddy was what made people start opening their eyes about Ashton Kutcher, but it really was this moment, which was, right before the Diddy stuff came out. But in September of 2023, it was released that Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis had written character references for Danny Masterson, and those letters became public. And they are disturbing to say the least, because this man is disgusting, deplorable, and the things that they were writing about him and hearing people write about him in such a positive manner is so disgusting. So Mila Kunis wrote, "To the Honorable Judge Almedo, I am writing this character letter on behalf of my dear friend Danny Masterson, with whom I have had the privilege of sharing a significant part of my life. My name is Mila Kunis, and I am an actress, and I believe it is essential to share the remarkable influence Danny has had on my life and the lives of others. I first met Danny during our time working together on That 70s Show, and from the very beginning I could sense his innate goodness and genuine nature. Throughout our time together, Danny has proven to be an amazing friend, confidant, and above all, an outstanding older brother figure to me. Which we did just all see the same video of him saying that she was hotter at 14 years old, right? His caring nature and ability to offer guidance has been instrumental in my growth both personally and professionally. One of the most remarkable aspects of Danny's character is his unwavering commitment to discourage the use of drugs. His influence on me in this regard has been invaluable. In an industry where the pressures and temptations of substance use can be overwhelming, Danny played a pivotal role in guiding me away from such destructive paths. His dedication to avoiding all substances has inspired not only me, but also countless others in our circle. Danny's steadfastness in promoting a drug-free lifestyle has been a guiding light in my journey through the entertainment world and has helped me prioritize my well-being and focus on making responsible choices. His genuine concern for those around him and his commitment to leading by example make him an outstanding role model and friend. Danny's role as a husband and father to his daughter has been nothing short of extraordinary. Witnessing his interactions with his daughter has been heartwarming and enlightening. He prioritizes his family, education, and happiness, and above all else, demonstrating his unwavering commitment to being a loving and responsible parent. As a father, he leads by example, instilling in her values that reflect integrity, compassion, and respect for others. Moreover, Danny has consistently displayed a profound sense of responsibility and care for those around him. He demonstrates grace and empathy in every situation, be it within the entertainment industry or in our personal lives. His steady support and understanding presence make him a reliable source of guidance and comfort for all of us. Danny Masterson's warmth, humor, and positive outlook on life have been a driving force in shaping my character and the way I approach life's challenges. His unwavering commitment to being an exceptional older brother figure to me has had a transformative impact on my life, instilling in me a sense of self-belief and encouraging me to aim for greatness, all while maintaining a sense of humility. In conclusion, I wholeheartedly vouch for Danny Masterson's exceptional character and the tremendous positive influence he has had on me and the people around him. His dedication to leading a drug-free life and the genuine care he extends to others make him an outstanding role model and friend. Please feel free to reach out if you require any further information or clarification. Sincerely, Mila Kunis. Now, I do not believe that Ashton and Mila knew that their character references would be made public, because I genuinely don't think they would have done something so stupid than to write such glowing words about a rapist. Like, that's just so insane to me. And I honestly think that they had no clue that this was going to be coming out to the public. Ashton's letter is honestly just as bad. He wrote, "Honorable Judge Olmedo, my name is Ashton Kutcher. I'm an actor, investor, philanthropist, and most importantly, a father. I met Danny Masterson when I was 20 years old in 1998. He instantly became a friend, dedicated coworker, and role model to me, and has remained as such for 25 years. As a friend, Danny has been nothing but a positive influence on me. He is extraordinarily honest and intentional human being. Over a 25-year relationship, I don't ever recall him lying to me. He's taught me about being direct and confronting issues in life and relationships head on, resolving them and moving forward. Danny is a person that is consistently there for you when you need him. We've traveled around the world together, raised our daughters together, and shared countless family moments. Not only is he a good friend to me, but I've witnessed him be a good friend to others, and the kind of brother others would be lucky to have. As a role model, Danny has consistently been an excellent one. I attribute not falling into the typical Hollywood life of drugs directly to Danny. Anytime that we were to meet someone or interact with someone who was on drugs or did drugs, he made it clear that that wouldn't be a good person to be friends with. And for me, that was an implication that if I were to do drugs, he wouldn't want to be friends with me, which is something I never would want to risk or jeopardize. I am grateful for him for that positive peer pressure. He set an extraordinary standard around how you treat people. There was an incident where we were at a pizza parlor and a belligerent man entered who was berating his girlfriend. We had never met or seen these people before, but Danny was the first person to jump to the defense of this girl. It was an incident he didn't have to get involved with, but proactively chose to anyway, because the way this man was behaving was not right. He has always treated people with decency, equality, and generosity. After 9/11, Danny was a huge advocate for support of the firefighters affected by the event, rallying his friends, coworkers to pitch in however they could. Danny had his daughter a year before I had mine. He set a standard of being a hands-on dad. We have spent countless hours together with our kids, and he is among few people that I would trust to be alone with my son and daughter. He's also a dedicated and loyal husband with unwavering commitment to his wife. We have spent hundreds of hours working together. Danny takes his job seriously. He is kind, courteous, and hardworking. He treated everyone from the grips to the teamsters to the actors to the caterers as equals. He showed up on time all the time and always pulled his weight. We have also traveled around the world together promoting our work, and I can honestly say that no matter where we were or who we were with, I never saw my friend be anything other than the guy I have described. While I'm aware that the judgment has been cast as guilty on 2 counts of rape by force and the victims have a great desire for justice, I hope that my testament to his character is taken into consideration in sentencing. I do not believe he is an ongoing harm to society, and having his daughter raised without a present father would be a tertiary injustice in and of itself. Thank you for taking the time to read this. Best, Ashton Kutcher. What the fuck? Like, actually, what the fuck? You want this man to be out of jail so that he can raise his daughter when he is a rapist? Like, I can't. It's obviously incredibly disturbing. I really wanted to show this now, even though we're going to be talking about like the 90s and early 2000s, and technically these character references came out in 2023, but I wanted to show them now so that you could get a really good feel for how good of friends they actually were. I think that that is important throughout the rest of this story and throughout the rest of understanding Ashton Kutcher as a whole. So Danny Masterson is a known and devout Scientologist. The Masterson family have been Scientologists for Danny and his brother Christopher's entire life. Christopher actually dated Laura Prepon, who played Donna in That 70s Show, and she became a Scientologist in 1999 and was a devout Scientologist until allegedly 2016. Christopher and Laura broke up in 2007, so she remained in the church for 9 years after that, and many people have speculated that due to their close connections and close friendships with the Mastersons, and honestly also some relatively interesting evidence, that Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis are actually secret Scientologists. Now, Scientology is like very complicated because they really want celebrities to be promoting their brand and promoting their church and making it seem like it can't be that bad because John Travolta's in it or whatever. But there's actually rules in Scientology for celebrities that they are allowed to remain secret Scientologists. Like, a lot of people think Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith are secret Scientologists because they have donated so much money to the church and spent time actually taking courses at the Celebrity Center, but still have denied the fact that they are Scientologists because they are allowed to do so. So if they were actually Scientologists, they're allowed to lie about it because they see that it ends up benefiting the church in some way or whatever. But I definitely think that this is a very strong possibility with Ashton and Mila because there is just something weird going on here. So Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis have actually been to several different events at the Scientology Celebrity Center in Hollywood, and that is really what got a lot of people to speculate whether or not they could be involved in the church in some way. But Becca Day, who is a great TikTok journalist, she pointed out some interesting information in regards to specifically Ashton Kutcher's character reference letter to Danny Masterson and the possible connection between that and the Church of Scientology.
Reporting from the underbelly of Reddit. I'm coming up for air. I found something on Reddit, and it makes Ashton Kutcher's leniency letters that he sent to the judge even weirder. So when Ashton was talking about Danny's character, he brought up a very specific situation. After 9/11, Danny was a huge advocate for support of the firefighters affected by the event, rallying his friends and co-workers to pitch in however they could. This made it sound like Danny was really in the front lines, helping and being an activist for the firefighters affected by 9/11. But that's not true at all. Danny Masterson held a charity event called the New York Rescue Workers Detoxification Project. This charity event was to raise funds to treat sick 9/11 workers using L. Ron Hubbard's Purification Rundown course. So with the funds from that charity event that Danny Masterson hosted, the Church of Scientology, along with Danny Masterson, opened a medical clinic just 2 blocks away from the disaster of 9/11. These firefighters who were coming to this medical office to receive medical treatments and counseling services quickly realized that this whole medical thing was just a ploy to lure them into Scientology. Firefighters doctors started to complain that this Danny Masterson-backed medical center was not actually giving them real medical care, but they were operating under the teachings of L. Ron Hubbard. These people who were presented as doctors and medical professionals started to tell these firefighters that they cannot use their antidepressants anymore, they cannot use their blood pressure pills anymore, they could not use their inhalers anymore. Some of the issues that went on in this medical clinic where staffers were discouraged from calling 911 in emergencies, medical treatments went on when doctors were not present, employees were urged to use L. Ron Hubbard's book Clear Body, Clear Mind as their only treatment guide, even if it wasn't working. Like, this is insanity. One firefighter almost lost his life when these Scientology workers put him in a 170-degree sauna, made him exercise, and gave him a large dose of niacin. This firefighter began turning blue, and higher-ups just said, oh, he's just having a manifestation. In conclusion, I find it so strange that Ashton Kutcher mentioned this in his letter, trying to make it sound like Danny was some sort of saint trying to help firefighters after experiencing 9/11, when in reality, this entire charity project and what became a medical clinic put firefighters in more danger. This man did not ever care about the firefighters affected by 9/11. He just cared about reaching a higher level in the Church of Scientology.
So that's actually fucking insane. That's fucking insane. I'm so sorry. I think that using 9/11 as a way to gain church members for the Church of Scientology is actually bananas. Like, bananas. Like, I really don't have the words. And I do agree. I think it's interesting that Ashton Kutcher chose to reference this specific event because clearly it didn't really go over too well with people who weren't Scientologists. So once again, it makes you ask the question, is Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis really more involved in the Church of Scientology than they let on? Honestly, maybe. Something that we've definitely talked about before in regards to Ashton Kutcher has to do with the night of February 21st, 2001. So on the night of February 21st, 2001, Ashton Kutcher had a date planned with 22-year-old Ashley Ellerin. He planned to pick her up that night and take her to a Grammys after party, which I find interesting. If you've watched any of my videos on Clive Davis, you know why. But nonetheless, we're gonna be sticking to like the facts here. But according to Ashton, he arrived at Ashley's house at 10:45 p.m. There was no answer at the door when he knocked, and she wasn't responding to any of his text messages, but her car was in the driveway, so he assumed that she just went out for the night without him, I guess. And Ashton claims that he peeked in the window and saw a pool of red, which at the time he believed to be red wine. The next morning, Ashley Ellerin was sadly found dead by her roommate. She was stabbed 47 times by the serial killer, the Hollywood Ripper. Now, I don't think Ashton has anything to do with Ashley's death specifically. Like, I don't think he hurt her or anything like that, but I do believe there are some insane discrepancies within his story that just don't add up and kind of point towards the conspiracy theory going around, which is essentially that Ashton Kutcher went into Ashley Ellerin's house, saw that she had been murdered, and just left and panicked, like called all of his friends and didn't know what to do, and then ultimately like lied to the police, essentially. I am kind of believing this conspiracy theory, I'm not gonna lie. Specifically because one of Danny Masterson's accusers, Chrissy Bixler, who was Danny Masterson's girlfriend at the time of the murder, publicly accused Ashton Kutcher of withholding information when those character references came out, because she is somebody who testified that Danny Masterson R-worded her on multiple occasions while she was his girlfriend in 2001, and she alleged that the Church of Scientology allegedly covered up the assaults. But when she saw that Ashton did this character reference, she decided to speak out, and she claimed on Instagram the night that Ashley Ellerin died, she was on speakerphone call with Ashton Kutcher, and she was listening in on a speakerphone call between Ashton Kutcher and Danny Masterson on the night of the murder, and that she overheard the quote-unquote plan. First of all, I don't believe that he would have been able to see the blood from the window like he claimed. And secondly, I don't think that blood and wine really look the same at all. I just feel like there's no way. And also, it makes a lot of sense because her door was unlocked. Like, the Hollywood Ripper had left her door unlocked. So if your girlfriend's not answering, you're knocking at the door, she's not answering your phone calls, but you see her car is in the driveway and the door's unlocked, like, you're probably just gonna walk in. And then again, it's like, I don't think he had anything to do with her death, but possibly could have prevented the death of other people that the Hollywood Ripper went on to kill. Maybe, because maybe he could have got him caught sooner, because she probably was killed like minutes before he even showed up. So maybe he would have still been in the area or something. I mean, it's obviously just ridiculous to not report, but I really want to hear your guys' thoughts on this, because I think this puts an interesting perspective here that I could totally see making a lot of sense. But again, let me know your thoughts. So when you talk about Ashton Kutcher, something that is important to talk about is his TV show Punk'd. So he was the host of the MTV show Punk'd, where he would prank these celebrities essentially. And some of these pranks were pretty ridiculous, by the way. But Punk'd aired in 2003, and what a lot of people don't know is that the show was actually supposed to be called Harassment, and it was sued for $10 million before it even aired. So in January of 2002, a Washington, D.C. couple, Lori and James Ryan, checked into the Hard Rock Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada, and they go into their hotel room and find what appeared to be a murdered body in their hotel room. The scene was captured by hidden cameras for what was supposed to be the MTV pilot of this show, and the hotel security reportedly refused to let the couple leave the room, and then Ashton Kutcher jumps out to reveal the entire thing is a prank. And the couple ended up suing MTV for $10 million, citing invasion of privacy, infliction of emotional distress, and fraud. So following that backlash and the lawsuit, MTV completely scrapped the Harassment series, and basically they rerouted it and made it specifically to be pranking celebrities, because they believed that celebrities would be better sports and used to being on camera and less likely to sue, and that is how Punk'd came to be. But honestly, Punk'd is basically just a character reference of Ashton Kutcher, because you just hear him say some really gross ass shit on the show.
Job is in Lizzie McGuire. She also has an album out. She's going to be in a movie called Cheaper by the Dozen. And she's one of the girls that we're all waiting for to turn 18, along with the Olsen twins. Any 15-year-old.
So I feel like we're learning a lot about Ashton Kutcher's character through the people he associates himself with, and through the things that he says and the pranks that he's willing to pull on people. It's disturbing. But something else that needs to be talked about is the persona that Ashton Kutcher was trying to have in the press, which was this guy who really wanted to help children, okay? Ashton Kutcher co-founded the anti-child SA organization Thorne in 2009 alongside with his then wife Demi Moore. So this is a nonprofit organization that basically uses facial recognition to match predators or victims in child SA, like online content, to help find these victims and these perpetrators. I think a lot of people have had mixed feelings about the fact that Ashton was so involved with wanting to help children and victims of SA, yet is best friends with Diddy and publicly defended Danny Masterson. Like in 2023, when those character references came out, that completely forced Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis to step down from like their CEO positions at Thorne. And honestly, I do think that there is some weirdness here, and a lot of people kind of have different conspiracy theories that maybe the reason that he is a part of this and wanted this company was so that he could have access to these types of videos, which I'm not going to say is true, but because obviously that's a very big accusation. But when you look at the things that he says he stands up for versus the things that he is publicly defending, they don't really add up.
Can we have an actual conversation about Thorne, the organization that Ashton Kutcher and his ex-wife Demi Moore founded back in 2009, and how, in my opinion, it is virtually a scam that was created to help boost the character of both Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore, primarily Ashton Kutcher. And I'm not just talking about Ashton Kutcher being an inauthentic advocate for a cause that he clearly does not care about. I am talking about the software behind Thorne and how it has been deemed to be incredibly biased and inaccurate, making it more difficult for authorities to correctly identify both victims and perpetrators. I'm going to do my best to explain this as clearly and cohesively as possible. So in 2020, an investigative journalist named Whitney Webb wrote an article, and First of all, shout out to Lily at the Do We Know Them podcast who sent me this article. I do highly recommend that you read this entire article by Whitney Webb if you have time, but if you don't, I'm going to be going over the most valuable pieces of information that Whitney Webb shares with us in this article that allows us to do further research and go down our own rabbit holes and find what I believe to be a very disturbing truth of Ashton Kutcher, so that you can fully understand how deep this really goes and how much we have been lied to by Ashton Kutcher and his team about his true character. Let me give you a little bit of background into an investigation that was done into the technology that Thorne uses in their day-to-day operation that will likely make you question the man who emotionally testified in front of the United States Senate, sharing his emotional plea to end child victimization in the United States.
My day job is as the chairman and the co-founder of Thorne. We build software to fight human trafficking in the sex of children. And that's our core mission.
As we know, Thorne is a nonprofit organization that was created by Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher. Thorne is a group of people who utilize a specific technology. This technology is used to help identify child victims of SA and the adults who are harming them via explicit material of said child or children being harmed, and the photos or videos being uploaded onto the internet, typically for profit. The technology, the software that Thorne uses is a software that was created by Jeff Bezos' company, Amazon, and it's called Amazon Recognition. And this is a facial recognition software. Right off the bat, we are establishing the fact that Thorne and Amazon, Jeff Bezos and Ashton Kutcher, have a business relationship. The CEO of Thorne, Julie Cardua, has publicly stated that Amazon's recognition software has been an amazing partner to Thorne because of Amazon Recognition's ability to view and scan photos and videos of explicit material online of children being harmed, and then run those scans through national databases to try to identify victims and perpetrators. So virtually the way Thorne runs is because of this Amazon Recognition software. Notably, Amazon Recognition is not only partnered with Thorne, they have also in the past worked directly with law enforcement to sell or provide these law enforcement agencies with direct access to Amazon's recognition software, with the promise to help identify victims as well as perpetrators 65% faster than they're able to do with their less advanced software. At least that's the percentage that has been touted. So we know for a fact that Thorne works directly with law enforcement to help identify victims and perpetrators.
Using the software that we created, a tool called Spotlight. And in an effort to protect its capacity over time, I won't give much detail about what it does, but it's a tool that can be used by law enforcement to prioritize their caseload. It's a neural net. It gets smarter over time. It gets better and it gets more efficient as people use it.
And we also know Amazon and Amazon Recognition are partnered directly with law enforcement, giving them access to this software. So it almost feels to me like Thorne is this almost unnecessary middleman. But here's where it gets really messy, and I need you to stick with me here. In June of 2020, Amazon announced that they would be halting all sales and collaboration with police departments who were utilizing their Amazon Recognition software. And they would not be entering into any new collaborations or be doing any production with Amazon Recognition at least for 1 year, as the software had been found to be extremely unreliable, racially biased, and ultimately more unhelpful to authorities in the long run. Notably, it was discovered as early as 2017 that Amazon Recognition was unprecedentedly biased and inaccurate. But when these concerns were brought to Amazon's attention back in 2017, they refused to halt any production or collaboration with police departments or any other organization they were involved in, including Thorne. The New York Times covered an alarming study that was done testing the accuracy of Amazon's recognition software using sitting members of the United States Congress's photographs as a sample in this study. This study revealed that Amazon Recognition falsely tied 28 sitting members of the United States Congress who were primarily people of color, to mugshots who were factually and unequivocally not them. This study very clearly showed that Amazon recognition was an unreliable software, and even more terrifying, it seemed to have some sort of built-in racial bias, which is extremely dangerous. If this software was able to incorrectly identify 28 sitting members of Congress as people who had committed crimes as criminals, imagine what could happen if this software misidentified a regular civilian who is then charged with a crime they did not commit. And if this is the technology, which it is, that Thorne utilizes, does that not just exasperate the problem that Thorne is trying to use the software to fight against? Isn't the point to more accurately identify victims and perpetrators? How can we do that when this software has been proven to be deeply biased and inaccurate? Despite Amazon allegedly being aware of massive system issues going on with their facial recognition software, beginning in as early as 2017, it would not be until the unaliving of George Floyd and the reemergence of the Black Lives Matter movement in our society in a very big way, it wasn't until then that Amazon officially announced that they would be discontinuing their collaborations and partnerships and production and sales with law enforcement for at least a year. But strangely enough, when Amazon announced that they would be halting this program with law enforcement, they also announced that someone else would get to continue using this faulty software.
So obviously I find that to be incredibly suspicious. And again, I just think that Ashton Kutcher having this company that is so opposite of some of the things that he has supported privately, but also publicly, like P. Diddy, Danny Masterson, I just think that that is disturbing, to say the least. So Ashton's friendship with Sean Diddy Combs really has come under fire over the last 2 years, since it's become very public knowledge that Sean was involved in SA and disturbing things, to say the least. Probably trafficking, racketeering. There's a lot, okay? We all know P. Diddy is bad, and we all know he was doing some crazy shit at his freak-offs. And that makes a lot of people turn back to this clip of Ashton Kutcher specifically talking about his time at Diddy parties.
Diddy party stories, they're our favorite genre of anecdote, if you have one, yeah.
Wow, okay, I've got a lot I can't tell. So, I can't tell that one either. I mean, I'm actually cycling through them. There was one moment, so it's not really a party story, but our relationship was really bizarre. So it started over punked, because he was like, yo,
don't punk
you
me.
can't punk me. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you, everybody's on the table. He's like, not me, I'm off the table. And so that started our conversation. We became fast friends, and we used to just hang out, watch football together.
And it's safe to say that he potentially saw some of the nefarious things that were happening at Diddy parties, considering he says that he can't even tell the stories online. And I think that this clip is also very prominent here. It is of young DeVay Chase. She was only 12 years old at the time. She has now passed away, we just learned. And there's this footage of Ashton and Diddy being really weird and creepy towards 12-year-old DeVay Chase.
Without whom I wouldn't be here, so thank you. And I also just want to thank everyone who voted for me, and at MTV, of course, and to all the ringworms out there. I just want to say,
You're doing so good. You're doing so good.
I just want to say, everyone will suffer.
Obviously disturbing, to say the least, to see P. Diddy get excited that a 12-year-old is going to his after party. So around the same time that Ashton Kutcher and Diddy were really good friends, like the early 2000s, Ashton Kutcher was actually dating Britney Murphy. And a lot of people have conspiracy theories that Diddy, Ashton, maybe Clive Davis, we've connected those dots as well, were somehow involved in Britney Murphy's death because she died at only 32 years old from pneumonia, which is obviously strange. And there's a lot of people in that circle of Ashton Kutcher, Diddy, and Clive Davis who have also died of pneumonia, and a lot of them have also had their autopsy done by the same coroner, Ed Winter, who also is now dead of pneumonia. But P. Diddy's old bodyguard, Gene Deal, actually weighed in on his thoughts on the conspiracy theories regarding Britney Murphy, and I found it to be pretty interesting.
I was around Ashton Kutcher and Diddy before, and they were speaking about Britney Murphy. And I don't think I ever told this story, and I'm about to tell this story here. While he was married to Demi Moore, he was still sneaking around seeing Britney Murphy. You understand? We were going to Nets game, so we picked him up, and he was explaining to Diddy that every time he goes to Britney's house, paparazzi always catches him or almost catch him coming out her apartment or coming out the building. Diddy was telling him that's either the doorman or your security, you know what I'm saying? And he was still married to Demi Moore at the time. So you could have something, you could be right. Because it's crazy how they said her and Kim and some other individual with them or around them all died of pneumonia and they were in perfect health.
It just gave me the shivers, that, because how can these two people be around the same people but die of the same death? Is it a case of the stories that are going to expose them of, they become a threat?
So I definitely find the conspiracy theory even more interesting after hearing that. Maybe Britney Murphy just knew too much about Diddy and his parties and Clive Davis, who's to say? But when I was researching for this video, I also saw this clip of Britney Murphy just looking absolutely terrified of Ashton Kutcher, and it just made me feel sick to my stomach.
I might wear this outfit during the wedding day, but come wedding night, I got a whole different suit that I put on. You know what I'm talking about. You can stick around.
I mean, I don't know if they're just messing around at that point, but she looks shell-shocked. Like, she looks really scared. But I want to hear you guys' thoughts on the Britney Murphy aspect of it. So the last thing I want to talk about in regards to Ashton Kutcher is his potential involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. I think that anytime there's literally anyone in any sort of controversy revolving around SA, I think people wonder if they were connected to Epstein. And the name Ashton actually is referenced quite a few times in the Epstein files, but there's no evidence of it actually being Ashton Kutcher, but it is a very specific name in my opinion. And people have these conspiracy theories that Ashton may have been tied to Epstein as well. The only reason I find it to be like somewhat interesting is because a lot of the emails about Ashton in the Epstein files are like meeting with Ashton, phone call from Ashton, call him back, he's here, blah blah blah. Like, it seemed like Jeffrey Epstein was meeting with somebody named Ashton, which was it Kutcher? I don't know. But something that struck me as very off, especially knowing everything that we know from the Epstein files and all of the conspiracy theories we've done on that, and the potential eating humans and how like the beef jerky, the shrimp, like those conspiracy theories about Jeffrey Epstein having hidden words, pizza, that mean children. Ashton made this weird joke about eating babies, and it just doesn't sit right with me knowing all of the people he's associated with in his life, and something about it just feels off.
Hi, I'm Ashton Kutcher. Have you ever killed a dog while driving drunk and then been upset that there was no way for your car engine to cook it for you on the rest of the drive home? Well, those days are over, thanks to Dr. Lee's Pet Engine Cooking Bag. Just put the dog in the bag, place it over the engine block, and drive your usual 20 miles per hour over the speed limit. Bow wow. I'm Ashton Kutcher, and remember, Dr. Lee's Pet Engine Cooking Bags are not meant for babies, but they can be used for babies.
I don't know, is it just a stupid joke, or could it mean something darker? That's what I want to hear your guys' thoughts on. But anyway, this video is getting pretty long, but I knew it would be because a deep dive on Ashton Kutcher was absolutely necessary after all of the deep dives I've been doing on like Clive Davis and P. Diddy. His name just kept popping up, and I don't like that. So that is it for today's video. If you guys liked it, please give it a big thumbs up. If there's any other celebrities that you want me to do deep dives on, let me know in the comments below. But that is it. Make sure you follow me on TikTok and Instagram and subscribe to new videos every week, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.